Let's debate this all out now with Fox News contributor and syndicated radio host Laura Ingraham and our own ABC News political contributor Donna Brazile. And Donna, let me begin with you. Speaker Pelosi calling March 18th an interesting date. That's Pelosi speak for I'm going to do this when I have the votes. I know you talked to a lot of House Democrats. Where are they right now? How close are they? What does she need to do to get them?
As you know well, George, that we're in the home stretch. The Speaker would like to see this complete its final round in the Budget Committee, go back to the floor so that they can whip up the votes. CBO will issue its estimates. And there's no question that the Democrats will round up the votes. They're talking among themselves. The president yesterday met with members of the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. He's reaching out to Democrats. We will have the votes to pass health care.
And Laura, Donna's right. The Democrats have been more confident over the last several days. One of the things they're pointing out is this White House pollster, Joel Benenson, showing a poll now showing that the health care is basically divided now, 44 to 45. Before the State of the Union, it was 38-52 against. They say that shows improvement in the president's position.
Well, I looked at Gallup daily tracking, I think it was yesterday, and President Obama was at an all-time low. And this morning in the Washington Post, the Doug Schoen and Pat Caddell column is must-reading for everyone in the United States and all Democrats, George, because they were the pollsters for Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton. They both say this is a disaster for Democrats. The people have spoken. You can try to spin it any way you want. You can try to talk about deadlines or we have momentum or it's inevitable. But the bottom line is America does not want this. Democrats are ignoring that. And a lot of people feel insulted, not just pro-life Democrats, George. Independents feel insulted, and the Hispanic caucus is upset about a number of issues. The Black caucus is upset. And obviously, the president, he's put it all on the line here. But the bottom line is, it is not going to be good for Democrats no matter what they do. That's the box they're in.
Let me bring this back to Donna. I did read that column. They called this a march of folly for the Democrats.
Well, George, as you well know, we've struggled with health care reform for 3 generations. And we're now at a point where many Republicans agree that the system is broken. They also support many of the proposals and the ideas that are contained in this bill. So the important thing this morning is not to have another talking point to debate whether or not the poll is going to support us or whatever. It's time to lead the country, and I think the president is absolutely right in reminding the American people that doing nothing is not an option.
Donna, let me press you on this for 1 second, then I want to go back to Laura. The Democrats now saying they're going to try to pass this without satisfying the demands of Bart Stupak, the anti-abortion congressman who wants to tighten the restrictions. He says he carries a dozen votes with him. That's a lot of votes to make up.
That's a lot of votes, George. And Bart Stupak has been a leader and helping to push health reform in the past. I think at the end of the day that the Speaker will go out there, she will talk to her caucus. It's a heavy lift, but she will find the votes. Look, there were a lot of no votes because some Democrats simply believe that it didn't go far enough, and some Democrats wanted to see more changes in the bill. I think Speaker Pelosi will find the votes to win this debate.
Laura?
George, you said it earlier. If Nancy Pelosi had the votes, they would have already voted on this, okay? They've been telling us that this is inevitable, it's going to happen by Labor Day, by Christmas, by January, then Scott Brown is elected. They got it off the table, now it's back on the table. The bottom line is the only thing between this health care bill passing and not is the people of the United States, okay? And the people, independents, lots of Democrats, and most Republicans say, stop the madness. We don't have the money for this, and we don't have the will for this. And one other thing, not only are they going to try to use reconciliation for this, which has never been done for anything like this before, they actually tried, through Louise Slaughter, Congresswoman, to have the House not even vote on the bill, to merely pass a rule saying it was already voted on. Now, that is unreal, and I cannot believe the Democrats this morning can look at themselves in the mirror after that little stunt they tried to pull yesterday.
We have 2 diametrically opposed views on where this bill is going to go, what it's going to mean politically. One of you is going to be right, one of you is going to be wrong. That's all we have time for today. Thank you both very much.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, George.